The US men are through to the knockout stages of the Olympics. They'll face Morocco in the next round. Mihajlovic would score a nice opener in the 14th minute, kind of set the tone for the whole game, which US were pretty much in control of. Paredes would score either side of half-time to give the US a 3-0 win. Just to confirm then, it's them and France who advance to the next round. France with a victory against New Zealand. For more on this, let's welcome in Sebastian Salazar. Sebi, what this the first time that they've made it through. Dun, dun, dun. They've made it through to the knockout stages in quite a while.
Yeah, since the year 2000 when they made it to the bronze medal match, lost to a Chile team that featured Ivan Bam Bam Zamorano. It's a significant achievement. I think a lot of times the world kind of looks down at the men's side of the Olympic tournament because it's under 23. But you know how it is, Dan, here in the United States. The Olympics is a big deal. And after the Copa America, if this team can continue on this run, it would help maybe wash the sour taste out of a lot of American fans' mouths about how this summer's gone. But it was a great performance today. I mean, the U.S. team knew exactly what they had to do, and they delivered and really didn't leave it kind of in any dramatic way for the end. As you mentioned, great opening goal, free kick golazo from Jordi Mihajlovic, one of the overage players. They had a second by the half-hour mark, and at 2-0, the game and the qualification was basically clinched. So a big day for this American squad, and one tactical change that I think worked a little bit. Duncan Maguire is kind of the only true 9 on the team. They took him out. They went with a front 3 of Paredes, Aronson, and Griffin Yao. None of those guys are true 9s, but it was very, very dangerous. And I just wonder if for the coming quarterfinal, the manager might stick with that front 3 because it looked really, really good today.
Well, I suppose the question is, why wouldn't he, Seb?
Well, I guess it depends on matchups and what he's looking for. Like I said, Duncan Maguire gives you that true big target forward number 9. If that's something you figure you're going to need in this game against Morocco, then I could see going with him. But really, I loved what I saw from this front 3 today. It was dangerous. It was fluid. And I think the game against Morocco is quite accessible. I mean, first things first, you avoid Argentina. You avoid Julian Alvarez, which according to the rundown of this show for the last few days is the greatest player on planet Earth. So I think that's a plus for the United States. Morocco's a good team. They've got Hakimi. They've got a bunch of really good players. They probably got the best 4 or 5 players combined between these two rosters. They'll be the favorite. They'll also be an effective home team probably against the United States. But I think it's an accessible game. And if the United States can get one of these set pieces where they've been very dominant so far in this tournament, it could be a way into the medal rounds. And what an achievement that would be for this U.S. team that I don't think we had any type of expectations that they could win a medal at these Olympics.
So what's your prediction against Morocco then, Seb?
Let's be optimistic, shall we? For once, I think this U.S. team is rolling. They've got quite a bit of momentum. Seeing this U.S. team score the way they have throughout the group phase isn't something that we're really accustomed to seeing from American teams. And not only that, but they have a killer instinct that I think the senior national team has lacked in some big moments. I really like this group of players. They've kind of flashed before. I know it was at a different level, but this is the core of this team was part of the under-20 team that did really well at the World Cup and dominated CONCACAF. So it's a group that's been together for a long time. And I think even though the names they've picked for the overage guys really aren't that sexy, it's a couple center backs and Mihajlovic, who's a string-pulling 10 and a guy who's kind of fun to watch. I think those pieces have really, really fit this team well. And so I think they could get a result, maybe not win, but maybe advance in penalties past Morocco. And I think after that, getting to the semifinals and whether it's the gold medal match or a bronze medal match would be all you could ask of this American team.
Not the same rhetoric, though, for the women, who are, of course, in action tomorrow as they take on Australia. They were absolutely sensational against Germany, and they'll be looking to continue that sort of form going into this tie, Seb. Are we expecting Emma Hayes to keep the same starting 11, or will there be rotation?
I mean, that's the big question, right? It's a tournament at the Olympics that really forces you to play on a pretty tight schedule. So if you have depth, you ought to be using it. But I think the reason that this U.S. team is starting to look so good under Emma Hayes is obviously some of the tactics that she's putting into place. But she's really settled on an 11, which for a long time under Vlatko Andonovski, you didn't really know what this team's best 11 was. And I think especially when you talk about that midfield 3 and the front 3, you really got to keep those 6 players playing together. And listen, Australia's no easy team to go up against. They're a semifinalist at the last World Cup. Granted, it was on home turf. And I know they've had some rocky results so far here in the Olympics and beforehand. But this is a game where I think it's going to take the United States best to beat the Australians and not just keep their form, Dan, but keep the momentum. It's been a long time since the U.S. women's national team looked this good, and I think probably felt this good about themselves. And another win against Australia with that 11, I think is very achievable, would go a long way to taking some serious momentum into the knockout rounds.